complete way. Islam solves all of its problems. Allah leaves no stone unturned. Perfect with no flaws at all are the laws of Allah. A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise belongs to Allah, and may His peace and blessings be upon His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I welcome you, dear viewers, to this episode where we are going to be discussing magic, witchcraft, the evil eye, envy, and all things associated with these subjects. With us discussing these topics, we have our dear Shaykh, Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim from Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Salim Al-Amri from the UAE, and Sheikh Muhammad Al-Sharif from Canada. May Allah reward you all for joining us. Now, in the previous episodes, we've taken a little bit of a look at what is witchcraft, what is magic, how the Jinn are involved in these matters. Now, another matter which is related to this subject is the eye, or the evil eye, if you like. Now, this is something which a lot of people, they might not know about. A lot of cultures aren't aware of this, whereas others, they get to the point they're almost obsessed with this matter. So I want to begin, as always, I'll begin with Sheikh Asim, inshaAllah. Could you introduce us to the subject of the eye and exactly what it entails in Islam?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. In Islam we have two semi-related issues that people usually are confused by, and they think that they're the same thing. We have what is known as al-ayn and we have al-hasad. Something that is known as the evil eye, and the other is known as al-hasad, which is envy. Now, they all think that it's the same thing, but it is not. Envy is an evil act that is deliberately being done by the individual. And in short, it is wishing that the favor, the blessing, the good things a person is enjoying, that it is removed away from him. Hopefully that it would come to me, but it has to be removed from him. So if I see a brother who has a beautiful car, my envy would be, oh, he's not deserving of that car. He doesn't deserve such a car. I should be driving such a car. What does he have to get such a car? So this is something that, first of all, it affects the person having it, because it burns him from inside. And not only that, it consumes his good deeds. And we will deal with that inshallah later on. But the evil eye, which is al-ayn, is something that usually is done unintentionally. And this has the effect of a person's evil spirit coming and coinciding with what he sees and admires, especially and definitely when he does not mention the name of Allah, and when he does not wish that individual that Allah blesses that ni'mah. So I may see a car, and this car, by the way, might be my own car. It's not necessarily someone else. It can be my car, and I look at it and I admire it so much without knowing that I am affecting that vehicle, that house, that property, that individual with my evil spirit without me intending it. And because I did not say Barakallah, Tabarakallah, MashaAllah and such, then this affects it and defects it as well. And there are bases of the Sunnah. I believe Shaykh Salim mentioned that in the hadith of Sahl ibn Hanif, may Allah be pleased with him, when he was bathing, and one of the companions, when we say bathing, he was just cleaning himself, so he took his shirt off. Not, of course, he wasn't nude, he just took his shirt off and he was just cleaning himself, and he had beautiful skin. So one of the companions said, whoa, I haven't seen skin like this except on virgins, meaning that this is not the skin of a man. Look how soft and tender it is. And immediately the man fell sick. And the people started visiting him, as a sick person. The Prophet came, alayhi salam. And when we looked at him, he said, do you accuse anyone? And they told him, yes, this individual, this companion, said so and so and so. The Prophet was angered by that, and he reprimanded the man, was talking to him harshly. Why do you kill your brother? And then he gave him the cure, which we will come to mention later on, inshallah.
I've actually got a question, I suppose, to get things rolling a little bit. You mentioned that when you see something that you're pleased with, you should say, Barakallahu fi, may Allah bless it. And a lot of people, they debate over this. So I'd like to get your advice on it. Some say you should say, MashaAllah. Others say, MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. Others say, Tabarakallah, Barakallah. And some say you should say one and not the other. What are we taught to say in the Sunnah when we see something that our brother or sister might have and we want to ask Allah to bless it?
Alhamdulillah, salatu salam ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi min wala. The evil eye is true, is a fact, and maybe some non-Muslims are watching also. We are living in a world that has many things which are hidden and invisible. So they are invisible creatures, we don't see them. And Allah, this is the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told us and taught us how to protect ourselves against such things. So this evil eye, it is a riddle, it's a mystery. What is it? Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah said, it seems that some destructive rays, they come from one's eye. Remember from childhood, this is still green in my memory. We had a little kid, animal, okay? That's the meaning of kid actually. And it was fat and lovely. It comes, rubs its skin against you and this. So our neighbor was a blind man, blind. So the kid came near to him, so he put his hand on the back of the kid, and the kid immediately started, ah, and fell. My mother, rahimahullah, immediately, there was a man standing, he told him, slaughter the kid before it dies. When they skinned the kid, guess what? The liver inside was just cut like that, as if you took a knife. I remember my mother carrying the kid, telling the people, see, this is the effect of the eye. He just placed his hand. You might harm someone you love, your own child. You come from work tired and the child is hiding itself behind the door, daddy, daddy, and giving you a hug. Before you say mashallah, and you hit that child with the evil eye. So we have to understand this, that it is a fact, it is a reality. So what to say? Bismillah, mashallah will do. So I don't see why brothers, they make fuss of these things. This is lack of knowledge, okay? In the hadith the Shaykh mentioned, هَلَّ بَرَّكْتَ عَلَى أَخِيكَ, why didn't you say Tabarakallah? And we have a problem sometimes a person comes across one narration and he doesn't know the rest of the narration, so that's it. So what is more important that you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and inshallah then we'll come across the evidences and the proofs, inshallah.
So we don't have to specifically mention, you know, may Allah bless this, that, and mention this. It's enough to remember Allah's name, and
if you can say mashallah, tabarakallah, that is best.
Yeah, because some scholars did say that the ayah which is mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf was not referring to preventing the evil eye, but rather to be grateful to Allah who granted you these two gardens. And of course, the hadith is clear. The best is to ask Allah for blessing. This, you know, eradicates any evil thoughts or looks coming from an individual. But definitely there are a lot of things that are not related to the Sunnah. So if I do something and people are amazed by it and they say, wow, and I say, Ya akhi, salli ala nabi, offer salutation to the Prophet alayhi salatu salam. And in some countries they say, Ain ma sallat an nabi. If something horrible happens, they say, this is an evil eye that did not offer salutation to the Prophet ﷺ, and we know definitely this is an innovation. It does not prevent an evil eye to say Allahumma salli wa sallam ala Muhammad, though it's a very good and precious deed indeed. Evil eye is mentioned in the Sunnah, and yani, as the Shaykh mentioned, that the Prophet said ﷺ, that with an evil eye regarding this animal, the evil eye entered a camel in the pot. What does that mean? Yani the evil eye caused the camel to die, and before it dies we slaughtered it so that we can utilize the meat and eat it. And it entered also a man his grave. So people can die by the evil eye, like in the hadith of the Sahabi Sahal ibn Hayf, he almost died. So an evil eye could be a fatal thing.
Indeed.
Evil eye is not a sign of deviancy. A righteous person, like in the case of the companion, he gave an evil eye to his brother, but envy is an act of, or it's a major sin, and it is an act that only comes from evil and deviant people. That's why the Prophet said, "La tahasadu." Do not envy one another. And also Sheikh Salim indicated that a person can give an evil eye to his son, to his daughter, to his wife. Well, wife, I don't think nobody would give an evil eye to his wife, but no, I'm joking.
There are cases,
Yeah.
actually.
But it was reported in the books of history that one of the caliphs of Umayyah Empire, he once looked at his reflection in the mirror, and he said Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was the kindest, Umar was the toughest, Uthman was the most generous, Ali was the wisest, Muawiyah was the cunnest, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan was so and so, and he kept on mentioning all the rulers before him. And then he said, as for me, I am so and so, and he's impressed by the way he looks. It was reported that a month did not pass while this guy died of his own evil eye. Imagine that. So,
But how did they know he died because of that?
they can tell by the symptoms that fall on people. See, nowadays people say that I went to Sheikh so-and-so and he said that I have an evil eye or I have black magic. And people go to the extreme by saying, I called Sheikh so-and-so and he told me that I'm possessed. So then I say, Akhi, how do you know? Does the Sheikh hook you up to a monitor and says, oh, okay, you got to change your spark plugs? Is this the case? They said no. There are signs that scholars out of experience, by reciting Ayat al-Kursi, if the guy feels drowsy, if the guy faints, if the guy changes in color, if he sweats, they know that this is an indication, most likely, that these symptoms indicate this. So the scholars say regarding this Khalifa, the guy was young, he had nothing to do, but what he said was a probable cause for an evil eye.
Indeed. Now we're going to stop on this point. May Allah reward you all. We're going to go to a very short break, so we'll be back very shortly. So dear viewers, do stay tuned. Inshallah, we'll be back with you after a very short moment.
Islam solves all of its problems.
Peace TV presents over 100 million viewers at one of the largest peace conferences in the world, addressing a sea of spellbound spectators. Over 30 world-renowned orators on Islam with credentials impeccable.
The truth of Islam.
Deen is your way of life.
It is our duty, our obligation.
By following the Quran and Sunnah,
we will give the message to one and all.
With articulation exquisite.
Read the book of Allah.
Islam is the easy way. It's the simple way.
Remind each other.
The Muslim is not a source of harm for other people.
Collaborate with the people for good.
This is the call of Islam.
With the mission of spreading the truth of Islam.
Do what you can to spread the word of Islam.
Wherever we are,
live like Muslims.
Use your power.
Allah is saying, why do you need anything else? This Quran is self-sufficient.
The only book on the face of the globe, the Quran.
How a human being should lead his life is given in this instruction manual, the glorious Quran.
For peace to prevail on earth in Peacemakers. Tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 1 p.m. India on Peace TV.
Say indeed, my prayers, my sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah, sustainer of the world.
A dynamic.
I challenge any human being to point out a single fundamental of Islam
in youthful quest.
which is against humanity as a whole.
Iconic, inspiring, encouraging.
Don't judge Islam based on the followers.
Farik Naik.
Judge Islam based on the authentic sources, that is the glorious Quran and the authentic Hadith.
Son of the world-famous orator on Islam and comparative religion, Dr. Zakir Naik.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an opportunity to do a proper job and to earn a proper reward.
a star above par in Teens Star. Next on Peace TV.
Islam solves all of its problems.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, while we're on sorcery and things, because I know from my own background, my Italian father side of the family, they also believe in the evil eye, malocchio as they call it. And they have a tradition, and I'm going to tell you this tradition, and now you tell me where this would fall in with Islam. They would say, if you want to find out if someone has an evil eye upon them, that you get a pot and you put oil in it, and you heat it below with a candle. And however many bubbles come up, this shows how many times they've been given the evil eye. Now, of course, even my father, when he was raised, he said, I don't believe in this nonsense. In Islam, do we have any of these things? Because you see a lot of people, they have, these symbols, these blue eyes that will protect you, or some, wild ideas about this. Do these things exist, or is this, mumbo jumbo?
Modern days, you have all these superstitions that go around, right? You have the 13th floor. If you go to American apartment buildings, you'll see there's no 13th floor, right? They just take it out. I was once in the airport coming through customs in Canada, and my daughter took out an umbrella, and the lady was checking the bags, and then she told my daughter, oh, wait, don't open the umbrella, because it's bad luck to open the umbrella.
Indoors.
Indoors. And then I said, open it as much as you want, to go and play with it as much as you want. But you'll see that this is very prevalent, even with people that they'll say we're modern and we don't believe in religion or anything like that. They still believe in it. And I just, for all the viewers and everybody, Islam came to save us from these things, right? And to protect us and to liberate us. So we don't, after entering into Islam, go back to these ways, taking rocks, taking amulets, believing in superstitions. And these are very, very prevalent through all cultures.
So when it comes to because it's so common, this blue eye, especially amongst Turks and whatnot, I mean, they would say this will protect us from the evil eye. Is there any basis for this? If there's no basis, can it even be sinful, or, what grade of sin does it fall into?
The belief in it is a breach of tawheed. It's a sign of shirk, because you believe that this eye, which is blue, or this rock prevents evil eye from coming to you, and this is complete shirk. Nothing prevents the evil eye from coming to you except the quls, with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal, with the adhkar. So, Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul a'udhu falaq, Qul rabbin nas, Ayat al-Kursi, the last two ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah. These are the protectors with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal.
And reciting them, not just putting them up on a wall.
Yes. Now, this brings us to another issue, which is, in some Arabs' houses, you would find that them hanging a palm on the wall, and we ask them, they say this prevents
the entrance.
The entrance prevents hasad. This has an origin that I know of. It's stated that before, we know that one of the things that repel the evil eye and hasad is to recite قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ وَمِنْ شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ. These are how many verses? 5 verses. So they used to, first of all, hang these 5 verses, the surah, to prevent hasad. But then it took a big portion of the wall. So instead, they said, whenever someone is giving you an evil eye or envying you, just say, Ya akhi, this. So in America, they say, talk to the hand. So there, instead of reciting the surah, they decided, yeah. They took the palm and they hung it. As for the blue eye, there might be an origin, but does it affect the situation that it is shirk? Definitely not.
I just think that there might be a misunderstanding. Just because it has an origin doesn't mean that it's authentic.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to take you to remind myself and the audience, we mentioned in the beginning, what can be considered as a means of cure. There are 3 types. Number 1, what is being proven materially, physically, experimentally, such as medicine. That is accepted in Islam because it is proven. Second one, spiritual, that is sanctioned by Quran and Sunnah. Third, anything else not falling here, it is shirk. So now where do we put this blue eye? Is it material? No. Is it spiritual? No, it is shirk. So this is the criterion you apply.
So if we have some of these, time to throw them away.
Exactly.
Now, We're talking about Quran, and this is again a common thing that you'll see a lot of people saying. You go into the house and they might have Ayatul Kursi or some of these verses on the wall. And then a lot of them later on, they said, I've heard from Sheikh so-and-so that I shouldn't hang it on the wall, rather I should say it. So when it comes to hanging these verses on the wall, there may be a difference of opinion. So I want to get, some of your thoughts on this, whether it's okay to hang these verses on the wall, or whether or not this is perhaps even a disrespect to the Quran.
It's an issue of dispute among scholars. Some scholars say that as long as you're reading it and it's reminding you, it's permissible. Others say, even if it's reminding you, it is not permissible because Quran was not revealed to be a decoration of the house. And the majority of the people who hang verses of the Quran on the wall, they don't hang it because of the content, but rather because it is a form of decoration. It beautifies the wall.
For art.
It's a sort of an art. And that is why it is not permissible to hang it, or at least it is very, very not recommended to hang it, especially if we know that. I've noticed a brother who I've visited his house, and he had this big, beautiful ayah hung, and a piece of art. So he was giving his back to it, sitting underneath. And I said, Akhi, how long have you been living here? He said, 10 years. And this, it's been there all the time. Without looking, what's written on it? And the guy, was almost sweating. Wallahi, I forgot. So then, if you claim that you'll be reading it and it may reminds you of Allah Azza wa Jal, this is not true. Because once you get accustomed to, khalas, it's gone and over with. The other thing is that those who want protection, and I believe we should, talk about how to protect ourselves and also how to cure ourselves from such illnesses, envy or black magic. Those who seek protection usually hang these amulets made of solely of the Quran. So is this permissible or not? I'll ask the question and answer that question as well. Scholars say that among the companions, Ibn Umar was reported that he used to do this with his children. And one of the companions used to do this. Some say that he was doing this to teach them how to read the Quran because it's a board and he used to write verses of the Quran and rub it off and write it again. Others say, no, it might have been amulets. So is it permissible? The majority of scholars say that it is not permissible, especially with the children, because they will enter the bathroom where they may humiliate it, they may do things that are not befitting. And it's a door. It's one of the means of writing something else, and this would expand and become part of the shirk.
Now, a common thing which I see, especially in Egypt, I've actually seen this quite common, whereby they will either put a Quran, like a mini Quran that's so small you can't even read the letters, or at least they'll have a mushaf in every car. I mean, I don't think I've seen a single car in Egypt except that there's a mushaf, and it's usually hidden away, either on the windscreen or at the back, and it sits there, and nobody...
A big mushaf or a small?
Sometimes it's small, but usually it's a big one. I mean, when I'm in a car, sometimes I'll grab it and start to read. But the majority of them, they're like, what are you reading it for? I mean, it's there to protect. And you see that the majority of them go unread. Is this a disrespect to the Quran to have a Quran and then just put it in the car for a protection?
I believe that this is a manifestation of the wrong application of the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal revealed the Quran to be recited, to be acted upon, and not to be a source of protection. This is not in Egypt. It's in Saudi Arabia. A lot of the Muslims put a copy of the Quran in their glove compartments, and if you take it out, you would see it dusted and untouched, and you ask them, why is it in your glove compartment? Some people put it under their pillows. I know a lot of pilots carry it in their flight kits when they fly. And when you ask them, they tell you it's a protection so that we would not have a plane crash, the house would not be robbed, the car would not have an accident, and this is shirk. Even if it is through the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, the Quran, it was not intended, it was not meant to be a form of protection in this
But
sort.
I thought it might be a little bit too much to say that it's shirk. Maybe that's going too far, because it's the Quran.
The shirk is divided into two types, shirk asghar and shirk akbar, and major and minor. The minor shirk is when you, in your heart, look at something to be means of protection or of bringing benefit other than Allah Azza wa Jal. So if you believe that the Quran can protect you, by just carrying it as a copy of the Quran, protecting your car, protecting your house from being robbed, protecting a plane from crashing. And we have no means in the Quran nor in the Sunnah that proves this. We can safely say that
wrong.
it is.
Absolutely.
May Allah reward you. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of the program. It's been very, very good listening to this topic, inshallah. Perhaps we hope to continue a little bit more in the coming episodes on this topic. So may Allah reward you for your contribution, dear Shuyukh. And may Allah also reward you, dear viewers, for joining us in this episode. We hope, inshallah, that you've received benefit from this. And we hope, inshallah, that you'll join us in our coming episodes where we continue to look at this as well as similar topics. Until then, I greet you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life.